Why children reject their parents. They see it as a failure, a modern malaise, a breakdown of familial love. But you and I know it is nothing of the sort. It is, in fact, one of the most vital and terrifyingly necessary psychic events in a human life. It is not a failure of love, but the agonizing birth of the self. The simple explanation, the one that satisfies the surface-level analysis, speaks of rebellion, of hormones, of the simple need for independence. It is a materialist's answer to a spiritual crisis. But as you have so often argued, the psyche is not a simple machine reacting to stimuli. It is a stage for a profound archetypal drama. The rejection of the parent is the first and perhaps most crucial act in that play. It begins with the participation mystique. The child is not merely of the family, the child is the family. Its consciousness is submerged in the parental unconscious, swimming in the same psychic fluid, contained within the same uroboric circle. To become an individual, a separation must occur, not just a physical leaving of the house, but a violent psychic schism. The child must, in a sense, slay the parent within its own soul to make room for itself. This, of course, aligns with your fundamental critique of the Freudian view. This is not about a simple desire for the mother or rivalry with the father in a literal reductive sense. It is about breaking free from the gravitational pull of the great mother and the law-giving father as archetypes. The personal parents are merely the vessels for these immense transpersonal forces. The child isn't rejecting Mr. and Mrs. Schmidt down the lane. They are rejecting the all-consuming, undifferentiated comfort of the maternal and the suffocating pre-packaged dogma of the paternal. And here we must speak of the shadow. The child, in its quest for wholeness, must begin to integrate its own darkness. But this nascent shadow is terrifying, and so it is projected. The parent, once the source of all good, becomes the perfect screen for this projection. They are suddenly seen as controlling, hypocritical, ignorant, tyrannical, all the things the child is beginning to dimly perceive within its own emerging personality. They fight the parent as a means of fighting the unacknowledged beast within. But there is a second, more subtle shadow play at work, isn't there? The child is also rejecting the unlived life of the parents. Every parent carries the ghost of the person they might have been, the dreams they abandoned, the compromises they made. This psychic weight is unconsciously passed to the child, a silent demand to complete the parent's failed individuation. The child feels this burden, this ghostly hand on its shoulder, and must throw it off with a ferocity that seems, to the outside world, like pure cruelty. They are not just saying, "I am not you." They are screaming, "I will not be the vessel for your regrets." This is the hero's journey, played out not in a mythical forest, but across the dinner table. The family home is the ordinary world that must be abandoned. The parental worldview is the dragon that must be slain, or at least escaped, so that the hero can discover the treasure of their own soul. To remain in the embrace of the parents, to never feel that impulse to reject, is to succumb to the puer aeternus, the eternal child who never grows up, never integrates his shadow, and never becomes a whole man. The rejection, painful as it is the cure for that far greater sickness. It is an act of profound, albeit unconscious, sacrifice. The child sacrifices the safety of the known world, the comfort of belonging without question. They step into the terrifying void of their own potential. The parent, in turn, is asked for a sacrifice of their own, to let go, to endure the rejection not as a personal wound, but as a sacred duty, to recognize that their child's health requires their own symbolic death in the child's psyche. Most parents, of course, are not conscious enough to understand this. They experience it only as betrayal. So, when we look at this phenomenon, we should not see a social problem to be fixed. We should see the brutal, beautiful, and absolutely essential mechanics of individuation. It is the alchemical process of separatio, the initial division of the primal matter of the family psyche into its constituent parts. It is the soul's primal scream for its own existence. It is not an end to love, but a demand that love evolves, from the unconscious love of fusion to the conscious love of two separate, whole individuals. A terrible, magnificent, and holy war.